Hey guys, happy new year. I hope you're well and started the year well. In today's video, I just want to talk about the lessons that I learned in 2020. It was a tough year for all of us. It was one of those years that took us by surprise. It showed us how life is unpredictable. But before I started, I wanted to just read a small poem from this book I'm reading by Rupi Kaur. It just says, I'm breathing, aren't I? That's gotta be a sign that the universe is on my side. If I've made it this far, I can make it all the way. And I think that's all of us who were able to see 2021. We didn't know that 2020 will end and we will see 2021. It was a very, very difficult year. But like the poem says, we are breathing. That means we are going to make it, and we did make it to 2021. So I learned a few lessons like all of us did in 2020, and I wanted to share them with you today. I'll talk in general about as a mom, at work, in terms of my business, in terms of my friendship, in terms of my goals. So I'll be talking in general on those lines. So I think my first lesson was, as a control freak and someone who likes being in control, 2020 showed me that, to be honest, I'm not the one who's in control. It is a higher power. It is God who's in control. And sometimes life throws curves. There are curves. There are things we didn't expect. So it taught me how to let go and sometimes learn that we have to make peace with not being able to control everything around your life. For example, for me, it was very hard having the kids home for 9 months continuously. They're usually in school for 9 months and home for 3 months, meaning 2 months in summer and less than a month during Christmas. So it means I have my space at home to myself, and I only have like 2 kids who are at home who are in school. So it was very difficult having all these people in the house at the same time. I felt like my space was being encroached. I felt I couldn't breathe sometimes, made me have terrible moods. In terms of organization and the house being tidy, it was a stretch. It wasn't how I wanted it to be. And that caused a lot of tension even between me and the kids, between me and the workers, because the house is not the way I'd want it to be. And then after a few months, I asked myself, is it really important? It's okay if the house is not as clean. It's okay if the lights are not out in everyone's room by 10 o'clock. And I learned to let go. I learned to control my, for lack of a better word, my control freakness, or my my habit of wanting things to be done in a particular way. So that helped me tone that down. It brought a lot of anxiety, and I didn't know that anxiety is a thing until last year. I didn't know that I could suffer from it if things don't go the way I want. So I've also learned how to cope and handle that. So that was one of my biggest challenges, like learning not to always be in control, even in terms of at the office, how you set to plan things out. The first 6 months of the year just went by, and I was only able to start the image control started from July. And so I learned to chill out and to move slowly and to be still. It wasn't easy, and to be honest, I'm enjoying it because being still helps me to be in the moment and to be present, and also to help me reduce my blood pressure. So that's one big lesson I learned in 2020. The second lesson was to be courageous. And if any of you know Brene Brown, she did a TED talk on about being courageous. And for you to be courageous, you have to be vulnerable. You have to try things that are scary, which was very hard for me when I opened the consultancy. I was scared about it, but I tried. I had to be uncomfortable to be able to achieve something different, to try something new. It was very, very hard for me. I was afraid, will I fail? Will people embrace the service that I was giving? And funny enough, people did embrace it. I can't say there were no challenges, and I'm working on those challenges that I came across in 2021. But it took me to be vulnerable enough to say, you know what, let me try. It's not perfect. I don't have everything in place, and give it a shot. And it did pay off, and I'm grateful for that. So anyone outside there who wants to try something new, to do something different in their life, to try something, to have a big change, just be courageous. It is very scary to put yourself outside there because you're afraid of rejection, you're afraid it might not succeed. So just give it a shot. That's what I'd say. Be vulnerable. It does pay off. Otherwise, you continue to be comfortable where you are and you will change nothing. So that's my second lesson. My third lesson, I think, is working hard even if sometimes you don't know where it's going. In terms of when I started my YouTube, in terms of when I started Instagram, I didn't know where it was going. I want to talk about blended families. I started my YouTube channel in 2018, Instagram in 2016, and I didn't know where it was going. I wanted to talk about blended families, but as you can see, it has morphed to different things. It morphed to image. It has morphed into me talking about not only blended families, but also just being a modern mom and raising children. So work hard even when sometimes you don't know where things are going. Don't stop, keep moving. It's a big lesson for me in 2020. Another fourth lesson is I need to work on my health. It was challenging for me in 2020 for my health because I pushed really hard. I didn't focus on my health. I think I started finally getting consistent workout routine at the end of it is when I got into the hang of things. Also eating well, and I think I turned an year older last year and it took a toll on my body. So take care of your body, take care of your health. When it's time to rest, because then again you'll have burnout. So I'm planning to do better in 2021 in terms of that. That reminds me, this is Cancer Aware Month. We're talking about cervical cancer. Women, go do your pap smear, go do your test. Don't take it for granted. We spend so much time taking care of yourself on the outside, we forget the inside. And without our health, we're not able to do all those things we plan to do and to achieve. 2020 has also taught me how to still continue traveling and appreciating traveling. I wasn't able to do much. All of us weren't able to do much. I really hope I can squeeze a bit of it in 2021. And that shows that, guys, we need to balance life. You know, we can save to buy a plot, we can save to buy a car, but we never save to travel and to experience the world. It is very, very important to travel and to see other cultures, see how other people live. Then you get to understand you're a very small, tiny part of the universe, and there's a bigger world outside there than yourself, and then you're able to appreciate life from a different lens. So guys, please travel in 2021. Definitely to do it according to what you can afford. Don't feel pressure. Don't do it because of social media pressure, but spare time and spare money for yourself to travel and see the world. Another lesson 2020 taught us, because we didn't have much social gatherings, is to treasure our social relationships, to cultivate our friendships, because we realized we weren't able to do a lot of gatherings, a lot of hanging out, going out and enjoying each other in public spaces. So you realize you had to meet your friends in maybe at home, at their homes. So if you didn't maintain or cultivate your friendships over time, you realize, hiya, I don't have friends. I don't have someone I can call to come home, share a meal, have a drink, talk. So what happened in 2020? You were starved a lot of social interactions. So most people tend to be lonely. You found you didn't have social setups where you could talk about your issues. We are born to be social beings. We are born to share our challenges, to share good and bad times. So 2020 really reminded all of us to treasure our social circles and to cultivate those relationships and to check up on your friends and to understand that sometimes you cannot live alone in this world. We need other people. So that was a very big lesson for me in 2020. Another lesson in 2020 is because the kids were at home a lot, and like I said, I couldn't control the space and the environment I was in the way I would love to. It really affected my sleep. I'm a light sleeper and I have sleep issues and I have insomnia. So this is something that I have purpose to work on in 2021, to sort out my sleep issues, to be able to sleep better. So sleep is very important in terms of your body having to rejuvenate, to rest. Sleep actually affects your life expectancy. So it's something that I've decided to work on. The kids were home for 9 months. Some were working at night because of the time difference. So when I'm asleep, they're awake. That really affected my sleep pattern, and I'm already a light sleeper. I suffer from insomnia. So it taught me to focus on my sleep and not take it for granted. So 2020 I have purpose to work on my sleep and to ensure that I sleep well, because it does affect your mood, it affects your hormones, it affects your productivity, it affects your eating habits. So anyone out there who has sleep issues, please don't take it for granted and work hard on it. 2020 really pushed me to the wall when it comes to sleep. Another lesson that 2020 has taught all of us, I don't think I'm alone, is mental health. Mental health is important, and it's okay not to be okay. We all struggled, like I said, with anxiety. We didn't know what was going to happen next. The plans we had, most people had pay cuts. Some lost their jobs. Guys were being paid 70-50%. So we really got affected in terms of that. A lot of anxiety was going around. I know many people who suffered from depression. So our mental health is important, guys, and I'm not any special and I was not spared. So all of us have to focus on our mental health and make it a priority. Another lesson I learned in 2020 is that it is important to put some money aside in terms of savings, because anything can happen at any time. Most of us survived with our savings because most people are not making extra coins. We did not have, for example, people who had side hustles. Those are the ones that were coming through because their main source of income were lost. So saving is very important. So people need to have to consult with financial advisors on how you can save, on how you can make extra income, because you've seen that life is so unpredictable. Most people survived on savings. I'm not excluded. So please, anyone outside there, ensure that you save, even if it's a little. Join a circle. It's very important because you're able to borrow loans at a low percentage. Have another source of income if you can do a side job to at least supplement your main source of income. It is very, very important. So savings really carried the day in 2020. So I think everyone, once we get back on our feet this year, please ensure that you put money aside for those, eventualities like COVID. And we do pray that this comes to an end, because our economy has suffered and we've all suffered. I'll still go back to the lesson of being still and being calm. COVID taught us forced all of us to slow down, forced all of us to reconnect with ourselves. So we found many people were able to go back to their hobbies, be able to do things they had stopped doing because, we were busy doing life. And in Nairobi, how things are, you're running up and down. So we're able to reconnect with our hobbies, reconnect with our purpose. So 2020 helped me also be able to ask the question, what is your purpose, and where are you going? And it helped make things more clearer. So that's another lesson I learned in 2020 that I'll carry in 2021. In 2020, we also, and I mean we also, because I know I'm not alone, learned to be flexible and adapt. Flexible and adapt meaning go with the flow of life. For example, we had plans. Let's say, for example, someone was planning their 50th birthday and you had plans to have it big and grand, and we adapted. We made them small, we did it at home, and we realized also we needed to tone down in terms of spending. So it taught us to be flexible, to adopt. I think for myself, it really affected me in terms of my traveling, in terms of also finances. I had to adapt to the situation. The kids are home, they're eating more, you're spending more because naturally they'd be in school and you'd save up a bit. It taught me to adapt in terms of also technology. I'm not good at technology, but there were many Zoom calls, Skype calls, homeschooling with the kids. I had to learn some apps, learn how to save their work on Google Drive and send the work. So there was a lot of having to adapt and being flexible. And that, for people who, especially like me, who are control freaks and tend to be rigid, really helped me relax and again calm down and just go with the flow. So I think that's a very important lesson in 2020 for me. Another lesson also was by being forced to be home with the family, with all the kids, and being together and in each other's faces. I think I learned more about my kids and their personality because they are adults now. I usually say I'm raising adults. It's quite challenging in terms of parenting. There are things about them I didn't know because I'm not with them most of the time. So I had to learn also they are grown-ups and I need to give them their space. I also got to learn some things they don't like. They also got to learn me. I could give just one off my head is I learned to share my clothes, I learned to share my shoes, I learned to share my bags. So it's something that I'm good at because I was born in a very big family. I tend to I shared too much, so just something that I wasn't used to. But now I've learned it's okay. They can borrow, wear, and they can return. I also learned to get to know more about their friends and them because they were seeing their friends more at home because they were not meeting outside, because normally they'd meet outside in the club and restaurants. So I also got to know about their friends. To be honest, it was eye-opening to learn some things about my kids that I didn't know about. And what also it forced us to do is, because of being in each other's spaces a lot, we were able to sort out issues that maybe before were swept under the carpet because the issues would come up on the surface, things that they kept in their hearts, things that I did also. So it enabled us to sort out issues and be more closer, and most of all for me to understand them better and for me to understand and for them to understand me better. I think that was one of the pros and cons. So yeah, there was friction because obviously when you stay together a lot and in each other's spaces there's friction, but we learned also through conflict resolutions that this bothers someone and now we know better, and I think we are relating better now. But it was a difficult 9 months, guys, and having said that, I can't wait for Corona to end so at least everyone can go to school. They also felt like their life was stopped, and the kids experienced a lot of anxiety, even Sean, who's 8. So I can't wait for them to go back to school and to also meet their goals, and to some of them are very anxious. Their first years, they can't wait to meet their friends. They're anxious, how will the other side of the world be? So I can't wait for them to go and start their lives. So guys, those are the lessons I learned in 2020. I hope you also, I'm sure with every difficulty we learn, with every challenge there's something to learn. I hope you also learned a few things. I wouldn't mind you guys sharing with me, but most of all, I think we all learned to make peace with things we cannot control. There's nothing any of us would have done about COVID, so we learned to accept it and to mold ourselves to adjust. So I think for all of us, that was the biggest lesson. Kindly share with me the lessons you learned in 2020 and what you're carrying in 2021, and let's encourage one another. And again, like the poem said, we are alive, we are breathing, we are here. That means we can make it. I wish you guys a favored 2021 full of blessings and full of amazing things, and may God grant you the desires of your heart. Until next time guys, bye bye.